Drink your water. Come on, drink your water, but first, take your breath and drink some water. Take a breath and drink some water. Take your breath and drink some water. Take your breath. Drink, 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 drink. Or should I say, breathe, breathe, and drink. Grab your glass for some water. Get your container of that water. Lift the container of that water, man. Come on, simply pour that water. Drink, 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 drink. Or should I say, lift, pour, then drink. Now move your body and drink some water. Move your body and drink some water. Stretch. Move your body and drink some water. Family, move your body. Drink, 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 drink. Or should I say, move, move, and drink. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Now raise your glass and toast your ancestors, family. Just raise your glass. Drink, 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 drink. Or should I say, raise, toast, then drink. Now take your breath and drink some water. Lift your container and pour some water. Move your body, drink some water. Raise your glass and toast your ancestors. Breathe, lift, move, toast. To stay healthy, breathe, drink, eat, move. Get some sleep, and of course, be culturally appropriate. But take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors. Drink up. Drink, 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 drink. Drink your water. Drink, 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 drink. Drink your water. Take your breath. Lift and pour. Move your body. Toast your ancestors, drink your water, family. Oh my God, it's a beautiful Imani day. It's nice and breezy out. I can feel the breeze coming through the door right now. And I am glad that those of you that are here have chosen to spend some time with Brother Hatem. And I'm just, I'm constantly humbled by the responses that I be getting. And the newsletter will be coming soon. Got to do some wrap ups. I was waiting for some folk to finish up their articles or their video posts or whatever. But anybody that wants to participate in a newsletter without me harassing you for an article, all you got to do is post up on the Gye-Nyame Journey pages timeline, not the group, the page. I can't get to the group because the group be having some nice stuff, but I can't get to it to upload it. So post your thoughts on the page. Post your comments on the page. You know what I'm saying? Do a video. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Because people need to know what's going on, and we need to start shaping the narratives in which we roll in. Let me finish up this water. Then we're going to get immediately into the toast, because y'all know today is our Imani Toast and Talk Day, right? This is one of those days where we have a little bit of time to kick back, wrap it up, wrap up the week, wrap up the month, wrap up what's happened in the past years, and also project on or talk about the possibilities of the future. We got a few articles we could go through. I sent one. It didn't appear to pop up on my page, so I don't know what happened with that. But if Sister Navita's out there, she posted up a article on her timeline, which would have been a beautiful piece for the upcoming newsletter, about Africa producing 75% of the cocoa and only receiving like 2% of the $100 billion industry. So the actual producers aren't receiving the benefits of what they have produced. Crazy, ain't it? But that's the reality we live in. We have to understand that moving forward in our movement, because oftentimes stuff starts off looking like it's beneficial, but as time goes on, see, because a lot of times we are negotiating for the present moment, while other people we are negotiating with in the long run. They're playing the long game. We're playing the survival game, which only allows us to deal specifically in the moment, right? But as we start getting more control, and as we start learning more, we start to see these things, and we start to see past all the traps and the tricks. Now the lines are open, but I would suggest that you wait until after the toast to call in, because we're about to get into it. Let me finish this water. All right. I want to say great Imani. We got any Imani borns in the house today? Anybody born on Imani? I know Cleve is. Day name is Quasi. Shouts out. Also, we got another Quasi. I don't know if he's online right now, but we're going to get him back into doing his show. And, families, this is a long, tedious, oh, that bird felt good. And I'm on day 7. So I'm moving away. I won't be able to do the ambrosia. I won't be able to do my broth. It's just straight water for Emoja and Kuji Chagalia. Then Ujama, and Nia is dry. And then Kaumba and Imani, once again, I'll be back on the water. And then on the next Emoja, I will be able to move back to the water and juice. Like I said, we work our way into where we want to be. I'm still struggling with a few things, but I haven't eaten, and I don't feel that bad. I'm getting a little bit of heartburn every now and then, but that's part of the cycle. So let's go. Let's do this toast. I will post up. Well, let me pour a little bit more, because this will be the last time we're going to be able to toast together with some ambrosia. I'm going to the barber shop. Might be some major changes happening. I never can say goodbye. No, because it's going to be some changes coming, family. We got to work on this newsletter. We got some work to do. Some real nation building to do. We got the NG&J Mall coming back up. I'm so excited to see y'all all together again. And as we start building up the audience and people start knowing about it, and we figure out how to use these ads on Facebook and Google and Instagram and all this stuff, and we start getting people in. Oh, before I move forward, I have to send shouts out to brother Tykees Cox, right? So I had to send out a reminder email about posting up for the newsletter, right? So Tykees sent me one article, and he quoted somebody in there, and I read it wrong. I looked at it, I didn't see the quotes, but he had italicized and stuff like that, but I didn't take the time to read it. So I texted him again and said, man, hey, man, where's your commentary? He said, my commentary is at the top. This is why her verses is italicized. I said, oh, we got us a genius here. What the fuck? He said, nah, well, I'm just going to send you another one. So he sent me another article, and I got it this morning. I was sitting down reading it, and I was like, Family, I don't know if y'all ready for this young man. I don't know. I don't know what the universe has in store, but I don't think y'all ready. But I'm gonna get y'all ready. That's my job, right? I'm the way clear. I create space and time. That's my superpower. So I have to create space and time for young men like him and like Tykees, like Cleve, like all the other young brothers and sisters that we gonna have, that we got coming through, and the ones that will be coming through. I have to go on and get y'all prepared, right? Because you have to check out this young man's article. You have to. When I posted up, I was so stunned, because I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I know he's not afraid of crowds, and he'll get up and he'll do his thing, and he's willing to learn and stuff like this. But I did not know that this young man could write like this. I said, oh, he gets a clap of thunder from God. It was hot, and I'm just like, oh my God. So the only problem now is the pressure's on now, Tykees. How you gonna top these two articles? How you gonna do it, man? I don't know. So oftentimes I'm talking about looking for replacements for myself and stuff like that. We gotta build that into the system. They automatically gonna come, and they gonna take what you doing to a whole nother level. So first and foremost, before we start this libation, this toast, we want to clear our minds, get ready for the conversation that's about to pop off. And we're going to raise our glass to the Creator by whatever name you choose to call that Creator. We lift up our glass and we salute that Creator, and we say, by whatever name you choose to call that Creator, let's be clear on that, and we lift and we toast and we say, I say. From there, family, where do we go? We go. Where else can we go? We call on our beautiful, our magnificent ancestors, those upon whom shoulders we stand, those who laid the foundation for us, those that fed us when we were hungry, those that clothed us, those that provided us with shelter, those. You say I ain't on YouTube today. No, I'm on Gye-Nyame Journey's YouTube, not our YouTube. I'm on Gye-Nyame Journey's YouTube. I'm going to go check that right now, because I was in a good flow. But I have to make sure we posting up, family. I want to make sure that the YouTube page is popping off. So I'm sending out shots to all those ancestors. My videos. Let's see. Uh-oh. They only got the Spreaker up. Oh, and that's the Spreaker from yesterday. What's going on here, YouTube? Seems we have a little conspiracy popping off here. All right. Daily Toast Imani 6'2". So how's it showing up on my... I don't understand. Oh! I think I know what's up. I'm gonna do a quick fix on that. Let's see if we can do a quick fix on that. Go to my dashboard. Now this might seem kind of strange here. Hold on. So no, it says the data is not being sent to my YouTube channel. Interesting. Alright, but it updated all of them. So let's do this. Alright. Till I find out what's going on, let me turn on that YouTube channel as well. Boom. Come on. Move over. There we go. Alright, so it should be showing up on YouTube right now. It might slow down the thing a little bit. So I'm sorry about that, family. But here we go. Lifting up our glass. Lifting up the glass. And here we go. Miles Brown, Ms. Ann, Robert and Tex, Anna Davis, Herman Brown, Senior, Rosalie, Tilly, Georgia, William, Walter, Chris, and Fanny Gasson, Adeline, Uncle Chris, Alphine, Cleveland, Geneva Brown, Margaret Ellis, Wash Ellis, Cecil Ellis, Alvaro Brown, Jenny Gaines, Herman Brown, the second, Barbara 2H, Wash Ellis Jr., Katie Ellis, Nikki Ellis, Jamon Jones. Jeremiah Tappan, John Fallard, Montague Pittman, Normal X, Pet Ma, Rob Malika Fakour, Dr. Mary Ann Williams, Kojo Kamal, Elder Millie Dixon, Tony Clark, Pastor Yusuf Weston, Elder Ajani, Elder Ron Coleman, Elder Robert Donaldson, Alfred Brofro, Hector Jr., J. Edwards, Carlisle Harris, Grace Lundy, Inez Harris, William Bill Moss, Phyllis Rose, Sterling, Lucy Wright, Derek L. Pulley, and the Luxter brothers. Miss Edith Brooke Crawley, Miss Marie Nelson, Mr. Frederick Crawley Sr., Miss Jerry Brunson, Mr. Alonzo Johnson, Miss Marie McDowell, James Foster, Charles Jordan, Kel Smith, Walter Smith, Richard Trigg, Frank Johnson, Mary Franklin, Jimmy Williams, Daniel Ford, George Gibson, Nana Loretta Clark, Inez McCrae, Phyllis Fritz Clark, Frankie Justice, Katie Justice, Derek Grindelman, Virginia Rogers, Reverend Jane Smith, Lois Henderson, Calvin Spratling, Mary Elizabeth Walker, Raymond Walker Sr., Sarah Jane Carter, Michael Ford Jr., Keller D. Russell, Susie B. Smith, Teresa Clay, Melvin Hodge Jr., Herman Copeland, Mildred Copeland, Jenny Clay, Bird Beatty, Sarah Weller, Vita Farmer, Argos, Sue, Cheryl Harvey, Aunt Charmaine, Aunt Evelyn Theolis Hasbury, Harvey Hasbury Sr., Leonard Dickinson, T.C. Islam, Terrell Dunbar, Will Thomas, Sarah Berry, Mark Walsh, Merle B. Thorne, Pearl G. Thorne, Alec Johnson, Florence M. Carter, Joanne Thorne, Eric Patricia Lewis, Juanita Wright, Robert Wright, George Wright, Mary Eliza, Project Davis, Mary Elizabeth Rogers, Mary Esther Keachler Reese, Linda Watson Hammonds, Jarrell Giles Watson, Sparrow, Slimmy, Selvin Lewis, Andrew Holmes, Pearl Moore, Percy Moore Jr., Mitchell Owens, Booker T. Bolden, Charlie Hunt, Sammy Stover, Hitter Pearson, Sturgeon Thornton, Richard Thornton, Lavina Hall, Freeman Bankster, May Moss, Pia Peacock, Willie Thornton, Napoleon Kennedy, Mark Ramsey, Paul Ramsey, Matt Ramsey, David Ramsey, Charles E. Thornton, Frankie Quells, Urania Thornton, Bernice Quells, Ernestine Jackson, Frankie Johnson, Teresa Mormon, Leon Johnson, James Leon Johnson, Charles Bell, Vivian Ramsey, S.C. Johnson, Del Rita Johnson, Leon Johnson, James W. West Sr., James Parham, Dana Jones, Henry World, James Farmer, Mary Chavez, Leon Grace, Bessie Johnson, Hattie Levester, Mary Moreland, Paul Moreland, Elder Caleb, Rosemary Martinez, Don Matette, Wellman, Fred Douglas Triggs, Senior Thelma Triggs, Thomas and Lula Berry, Lacey Eleanor Howe, Frank Russell and Davis, Fred Douglas Triggs, Second Vina Triggs, Reverend Eddie Moore, Helen Fuller, Eugene Jackson Sr., Richard Ellis, Silas Alexander, Charles Maxwell, Percy May Alexander, Arthur Reynolds, Stanley Lockhart, Ricky Lockhart, William Lockhart, Woodrow Lockhart, Brenda Porter, Deacon Hargrove, Carla Sawyer, Andrew Parker, Doris Donald, Ellis Murphy, D'Amico Russell, Dylan Monaries, Gina Ruth Jones, Jane Ann Callahan, William Walter West, Nigel Perez, Elder Basiji Fulani, Jim Robinson, Gladys Johnson, Valerie Clark, John and Mary Sullivan, Dirk Johnson, Antonio Johnson, Delise Waters, Depretis Hines, Inez Bostic, Anna Bostic, Winifred Scanner Bay, Wilson Hadley, Elma Hines, Phyllis Lee, Eugene Spratling, Calvin Spratling, Charles Wooden, Penny Brown, Roy Lee Printup Jr., Miriam Johnson, Wilbur Longmire, Ada Cadney, Janice Carter, Michael Carter, Leon Pina Carter, Margaret Carter, William Carter, Lisa Jordan, Charles Lee Mosley, Dorothy R. Blair, Ransom Evans Sr., Sam Evans Sr., Nalon Blair Sr., Edward Stevens, Sue Ann Stevens, Joe Davis, Timothy Butler, Gene Holmes, Dana Jones, Peter Charles, Christy Nichols, Cardinal Robinson, Rosemary Charles, Ada Pearl, Bob Ingalls, Jack Wallace, Warren M. Finch, Warren P. Finch, Tim Ingalls, Audrey Finch, William Billingsley Jr., Jennifer Sensenball, Hazel Gadsden, Jerry Brantley, Brian Watson Jr., Kaniko Parsons, Jason Cathy Bradford, Thomas Bradley, also known as Uncle Buki, also known as Gypsy, Reverend Roosevelt Word, the First, Stacey Trice, Frank Smith, Mother Bertha, Michael Leonard, David Brown, Ruth Carter, June Cox, Ruth Cox, Paula Cox, Ronald Irvin, Judy Hubbard, Irene Johnson, Francis Booth Jefferson, Dan Wilkerson Sr., Emma McClendon, Jerry McDoyle, Amina Robinson, Mary Nichols, Patricia Williams, Shabaka Teray, Gray, G2 Gibson, Donna Hill, Richard Cleavis, Lee Irby, Tommy Irby, Boy Irby, Jim Gaucher, George and Hallie Johnson, Archie Margaret Armstead, Diane Scott, Erica Armstrong, Claire Fox, Gene Evans, Archie Beck, Anna McGill, Charles McDaniel, Christine Cottrell, Aunt Becca, Ellis Arnold, Arthur Arnold, Addie Reed, Charles Reed, Eulin Andrew Baker, Patricia and Edwin Brooks, Gwendolyn and Bob Hatch, Kimball Vernon, Bradley Kim, Janie Harriet Tubman Kate, Spencer Sturgis, Sally Mae Baker, Ethel Baker, Creola Baker, Geneva Baker, Aaron Nino Baby Hatch, Senior, Melly Miller, Housie Hashtag, Cleveland, Mother Gibson, Alex Nixon, John Bowie, Lester, and Rachel Saunders, Dorita Ross, Viola Ross, Robert Nelson, Francis Stevenson, Leroy Stokes, Neely Johnson, Fletcher Swan, Maddie and Charlie Scott, Ida Casey, Thomas Cooper, Vivian Stevenson, Mona Ann Lewis, Cornetta Lyman Lewis, John Jackson, William Dallas Lewis, Mary Francis, Chappelle Jackson, Michael Slade, Joanne Perkins, Richard Jackson, Martha Ford Dawson, Big Mama, Nanny Harris, Eva Ford, James Harrison, Margaret Towns, Mary Williams, Leroy Key Heath Sr., Albert Moore, Miss Vanilla, Albert Molly, Joe D. Elizabeth, Douglas Thompson, Earlton Houston, Lud Alls, Elijah Alls, Jerome Alls, Henry West Staten, Joe Jamel Alls, Ann Pierce, Donald Carter, Lily Green, Nathan Green, Beth Vaughn, John Dewey, Ruth Beard, Tim Butler, Ramey Laura Newton, J.B. Foggy, Thomas Newton Sr., Barbara Naeem, Jeanette Sanders, Jerry C. Sanders, Roy Pruitt, H.J. Brantley Sr., Henry Wilson, Rufus Jenkins, Minnie Wilson, Catherine Sanders, Muriel Ellis, Elizabeth Sanders, Henrietta Irby, Mildred Armstead, Margaret Armstead, Catherine Anthony, Ruby Brown, Charles Walker Sr., Charlie Walker, Cecil Russell, Diane Irvin, Haroon Phillips, William Ford, Margaret Logan, Phyllis Barnett, Lee Irvin Sr., Michael Irvin, Ozella Watson, Hugo Watson, John Caldwell Sr., Robbie Lee Caldwell, Nevaeh Mitchell, Ron McCormick Sr., Sabrina Easley, Rayshawn Easley, Javea McCormick, Barbara Ann Reed, Dorothy Ann Reed. I'm going by memory till I find my space. Dorothy Ann Reed. Let's just start at Jeanette Sanders, J. Sanders, C. Sanders, Roy Pruitt, H.A. Brantley Jr., Henry Wilson, Rufus Jenkins, Minnie Wilson, Catherine Sanders, Muriel Ellis, Elizabeth Sanders, Henrietta Irby, Mitchell Armstead, Margaret Armstead, Catherine Anthony, Ruth Brown, Charles Walker Sr., Charlie Walker, Cecil Russell, Diane Irvin, Haroon Phillips, William Ford, Margaret Logan, Phyllis Barnett. Margaret Logan, Phyllis Barnett. I get on the run and sometimes some of the names roll together. Sister Navita, if you still out there, can you please post up the article on Gye-Nyame Journey Timeline about the Coco that you posted up on your timeline? I think it was you. Lee Irvin Sr., Michael Irvin, Ozella Watson, Hugo Watson, John Caldwell Sr., Robbie Lee Caldwell, Nevaeh Mitchell, Ron McCormick Sr., Sabrina Easley, Rayshawn Easley, Javea McCormick, Barbara Ann Reed, Dorothy Ann Reed, John Reed, Shekamaha Reed Jr., John Reed Jr., Patricia Reed, Edwin R. Benson Sr., Ethel H. McNair, Louis Fernandez, Jacqueline Broader, Rachel Oliver, Mazarine Cofer, George Swan, Imani Grayson, Charles Scott, Charles H. Scott, Michael Morgan, Charlene Morgan, Sybil Edwards McNabb, Annie Ferguson, William Ferguson, Shelby McClendon. And on to our black book. Joella Giles, James Carswell, Roberta Adams, also known as Aunt Sis, Elder Shaka McNair, Anthony Brown, Jonathan Ford, Lottie Gaucher, Cousin Tony, Michael Johnson, James Jimmy Johnson, Barbara Shang Lewis, Ronald Shelton Jr., Damian Top, Westina Banks, Joseph Bingham, Quincy, Mama, Aunt Lady, Abraham Isaac Cundiff, Aunt Barbara Lewis, Renee Johnson, Joy, Ryan Ross Riggins, Jermonte, Marcus Price, Ness Words, Marshawn McCarroll, Demetrius Beard, Herb Jepson, Ralph Mickens, Eric Walker, Quasi Sample, Candace Simmons, Simon Clayton, Leonard Jones, Sade Garner, Melvin Scott Sr., Elder Clarence Lumpkin, Elizabeth Johnson, Frank Smith, Stacey Trice, Denise Gorey, and Nathaniel Hassan Turner, Khalid Essien, Nigel Turner, Demetrius Lewis Flint, Alberta Woods, Geneva Simmons, Daniel Tilley, Angeline Gatt, Sharifa, Oscar Kane, Audrey Gripper, Dominique Nichols, Ruth Elaine Johnson, Teresa Sambu. We lift up our glass and we salute those marvelous ancestors that stood in for us when we weren't able to stand in for ourselves, that whisper words of wisdom in our life that many of us are just now understanding. We salute. Navita, you posted it in the group, baby. I need you to post it on the page, not the group, the page. All right, so we lift up our glass and we say Ashe. Now I got to figure out, because sometimes people get it mixed up. So I'm trying to figure out, why is the page and why is the group? I don't know. So we lift up our glass, we salute our ancestors, and we say, Ashe. From there, we move to the present. Okay, cool. Thank you very much. We move to the present moment. Right now, we're on Imani. I'm asking everybody to link in with your reticular formation and what we need to do when we get out here today. We need to search out and find Imani. Hashtag Imani. Hashtag Imani found. Hashtag Imani in action. Hashtag Imani in motion. Right? Right? So the PC is finding our principles in action all around us to remind ourselves, constantly reminding ourselves about what we're supposed to be doing so that we could take it just beyond us changing the nomenclature of the day to us actually looking for these principles on a daily basis and expecting to find the principles on a daily basis. Because what we look for, we find. We know this, right? So, all right. So now, family, for those that don't speak the language, Imani means faith. The Imani principle of the day is harmony. Beautiful principle. The M7 that we teach the young people, or M7 that we use at the school, is trust. The color is red. I've been able to find all my shirts this week. Hermetic law is gender. Of course, we're going to have a discussion about the Hermetic laws and stuff like that for a reminder, because this whole, what's crazy about this whole process is toasting. All this stuff grew up together. Then I started brewing, and then we started doing the toast, and then the calendar was formed, and then the days of the week was conquered, and then we started looking at what principle systems that were in use that we could go on and start applying, and all this stuff came about moment by moment, and we built it up to the point now where we are right now. So of course we're going to have to go back and do some refreshers, because I know we doing the show every day, so that means in order to really even catch up, you might have to go back 600 shows. Wow. Consistency, right? Come on, family. I'm not playing with y'all. Male name for the day is Kwesi. Shouts out to all the Kwesis out there. We got Kwesi Clee. We got Kwesi Low. You know what I'm saying? Female, Akusua. I'm still looking for my 2 people per day. We need a male representative and a female representative for that day that you was born on. Of course, the only one we got popping off right now is once again Quabbing out. But hey, we got Cool G Chocolate popping off. We got ones and possible. We got any other with both? Maybe Kwame, Kuumba Day. We got Kwame, we got Amos flowing in the family. So family, now we need to fill in Imani, we need to fill in Nia, we need to fill in Ujuma, we need to fill in Ujima, and we need to fill in Umoja, right? Because I know y'all out there. So we lift up our glass and we salute this moment. In this moment, we uphold our pact with our ancestors and our pact with our future generations by us handling our business now and always reaching for the guidance of our ancestors and listening to their wisdom that has been left to us, or researching it and finding it to make our moment more powerful. By making our moment more powerful, we prepare a space for our future generations to do their thing, right? Build their pyramids of greatness, right? So we lift up our glass and we salute. And what that means, what we say after that, we say Ashe. From there, family, we move to our future generations. We toast our children, our children's children's children, on to infinity, because we know we have always been and we always will be. And we pledge to them that we will make sure that you have your space so that you could do your thing. And we salute you now, so that when it's our time to be toasted, you will be able to raise your glass high and be like, they did it for us before we was here. We shall do it for them. And they will never be forgotten. Because hell for an African is what? Being forgotten. So from there, family, we lift up our glass, we say Ashe, and we move to right now where we toast all of our relations. And we lift up our glass and we salute all of our relations and we say Ashe, I say toasting all our relations. From all our relations, we move to that selfish toast. This is for you, family. What do you need in this moment in order to move towards the next level of your being? Move into your highest self. You know what I'm saying? Your best self. Being able to reflect right now in this moment so that you can knock down all of the barriers that may be standing in your way. We lift up our glass for whatever it is you said, and we say our shade. From their family, I want to toast the most magnificent, beautiful, uplifting, outstanding, incredible, strong and wise, faithful individual in the room. And I raise my glass to you, and we say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Family, I wish you peace, power, joy, and 100 years. And we say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Let's drink up. Oh my God. Let me go and drink this because this is going to be the last. Man, lines are open. Lines are open. I put open. Open. 614-556-4535. Let me move my speaker up so that we could go on and have this conversation. If there is a conversation, if not, y'all know Brother Hot Tim is going to handle it. Then after that, I'm going to the barbershop, make some major changes. I'm just thinking. I might just be talking shit right now. I might punk out. But, you know, we need to make some changes. Not major, but enough. But let's go and drink this up. We got some music. Let's go and play Brother Malik. Keeping that energy alive. I had it set on him, but I guess... Where we at? Here we go. This little old man, he wanna lick a tongue, he's got mad flavor, but another with a hungry diggy, he don't have cool is about to come. Feel the rhythm that I give him and the wisdom that I drop. Can't stop it, can't top it. Take a biscuit, stop it. It's ethereal, quite literal, more advanced than fiber optics. The truth that I flip may cause inflictions. I flip the strip with conviction. I mean this. Alright, I grip the mic like the kind of genius. Super genius in science and mathematics that allow me to say this. Let's say I see you on my timeline. The chaos and confusion. Stimulating the five senses is not a mere illusion. Love and wisdom is art, put it together like fusion. So this poise is out to give a new world a conclusion. Hum-ba-diggity, down on heaven from the sun. Hum-ba-diggity, down I am the son of none but one, composed of 6 gods in the mix. Hum-ba-diggity, down on heaven from the sun. Hum-ba-diggity, down I am the son of none but one, composed of 6 gods in the mix. Heretics and some critics, they say we rank first. We're not the baddest of the bad, nor the worst of the worst. We strive for some embodiment in harmony with the universe. So weathered, we're unmovable like Mount Kilimanjaro. Africans, we're Africans, so I say no sorrow. We are the people of the day before yesterday. We are the people of the day after tomorrow. I have a dream someday that our youth will be walking down the streets, contemplating, living on ginseng roots, giving hell to those who aren't hard for sure, but for show. Pretending what you hadn't thought but said and didn't know. Claiming sex, throwing up gang signs, society's got you snared. What the hell is that sign language? For the spiritually impaired. I'm not a player hater, I'm just a player fader. What goes around comes around, vengeance is mine, I catch you later. Hum-ba-diggity, down I'm Helen from the sun. Hum-ba-diggity, down I am the son of none but one, composed of 6 gods in the mix. Hum-ba-diggity, down I'm Helen from the sun. Hum-ba-diggity, down I am the son of none but one, composed of 6 gods in the mix. No man shall get the best of me. Romance, the great test of me. The part of me that strives up and begins to pull up the rest of me. Conquering selfish, true manifest destiny. And good reflects this. As I become more mindful, godliness is the blindfold. And I take it to the line, so yo, man, check this. I pumps courage to the chest. But times come for chance. And when they come for test, there's no need to test a 9. I've got to buck a sucker with great outputs of the mind. My flamboyance is a product of mind sight. Creating foresight instead of hindsight. My buoyancy is a reflection of my hardship. I've been through much, and I'm beyond death. My legacy is a reflection of my guardship. I hold a tight grip until my last breath.
Hum-ba-diggity-hee-dum, I'm hailing from the sun. Hum-ba-diggity-hee-dum, I am the sum of none but one, composed of six gods in the mix. No gimmicks, just a few turntable tricks, executed by DJ Superman top notch. More vision than Black Watch. He steps upon the heads of DJs like a quick game of hopscotch. Wherever the top drops, then we must begin with a musical system. True that comes through the eye of the storm, though cosmic in fact. This child's tracks are produced in his humanoid form. We are the sum of none but one.
Sum of one, Brother Malik Willoughby. He was he graced us with his presence. I mean, he been coming out to the malls. He came to the Malcolm X celebration, and you know, I was gonna call him on stage, but he was so adamant about not being called on stage, family. I mean, because it's hard when you got family like that, and you be like, shit, we got a star in the crowd. Let me pull it. He got to. He said, man, you better not call me. I said, all right, bro. You know, because you know, as you start getting older, I know I'm getting old too. Well, I'm older than him. I'm about the same age as. I'm older than him. So, you know, he still got a little energy. I should have called his ass up anyway, so we could have got something. But I think coming soon, man, I want to do something where I want to see Spirit perform again. So I got to figure out how we gonna do that. Oh man, that feel good. Y'all gotta excuse me, man. This heartburn been kicking my ass, and I'm trying to figure out what the fuck is it burning, because I don't have nothing in me but juice and water. What is going on? You know, so I will weigh myself and I will let y'all know. Last week when I started, I weighed 176. We're gonna see what it does for starting tomorrow, because I keep track of it, a little bit of stuff in the book, because that's part of the 21-day challenge. So, but what I've been actually working on is the newsletter, and I have some major changes that I need to make as far as the school. So I'm looking for the resources to do that. And let me tell you how the ancestors work. So I was presented with impossible challenge. You know, and for Gye-Nyame that takes maybe a month, sometime a month and a half to do the impossible. You know, the hard, we get that shit done in a day. The difficult takes a week. Impossible, maybe a month and a half, right? So I was given an impossible challenge, but all of the tools that I needed had already, I want y'all to listen to this, had already been laid in my path. It's just a matter of stopping, thinking, reflecting on interactions that I had with individuals that run in my circles. And I'm like, damn, you know, the word came down, I needed what I needed to do. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? In 1 year? Over a summer? So, all right, well, cool. Let me reach out to my resources. And lo and behold, the expertise that is needed popped up, family. Listen, when I'm talking about our ancestors don't be playing, man. I'm just letting y'all know. When we are saluting our ancestors on a daily basis, I need y'all to understand, we are calling that energy. We are calling an energy out of the void into where we are right now. And that force comes with you and goes out before you, and it's clearing ways. Now you're going to have challenges, but the challenges that you're facing are not possibly what they really could have been, because your ancestors is already working the shit out for you. It's already got the connections, and we be missing out because a lot of times we be thinking it's supposed to be like the parting of the waters. No, it's those little micro miracles, those little micro chance happenings that pop up, and we have to start learning how to see those, and then start showing the gratitude for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been like, damn, I was like, oh my God, I better not miss a toast. You know what I'm saying? I better not miss a toast. You know what I'm saying? Because the piece for me is that it's real. It's real. So let's go and finish sipping this up. It don't look like nobody gonna call in, so Brother Hatim is gonna have to run his mouth. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to run my mouth. right? So yesterday I was talking about Dr. Boyce Watkins, and as he do, I'm gonna say it just like him, meaning no disrespect. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool guy, and I could really dig him. But about an email that I received from the Black Business School talking about Warren Buffett being able to take $114 and turning it into $440,000 by investing it in 1942. So I need to do the math. 2018 minus 1942. 2018 minus 1942. So what are we talking about? Somewhere around, we talking over 60 years. We're talking over 60 years because I don't have a pencil available and I should be able to do that in my head. Hold on. 2018 minus 1942. So we're going to carry. We're going to not even carry. We're going to borrow. We're going to loan. Boom. That's 9. That's 0. All right. Boom. We're going to carry. We're going to borrow from that. And we're going to borrow. And we're going to move that over there. So that becomes that. So that is 7. 7. We're going to take from that 6, carry. We're going to boom. And no. Almost 66 years. I could be wrong. Almost 66 years. So this dude was able to lead his money and sit for 66 years. Let's just say that, if you're able to do that. Now, I ain't gonna say the dishonesty or maybe the miss part of the whole discussion. The miss part of the whole discussion is what $114 was in 1942. First off, I want y'all to think about this. I did the numbers for y'all yesterday. $114 in 1942 is equivalent to almost 2,000. It's like $1,700 today. So the first question you got to ask is, where is this kid getting this goddamn money? Where are the opportunities for this young man to get this money? Plus, in 1942, you got to remember, like, because I want y'all to understand this, man. We got to really start learning to look at history with a perspective that is ours, that is distinctively ours. We could really see what's going on, because basically what I'm tired of happening is that motherfuckers want to lay the burden of what was going on during those times on us. It's your people's fault. Y'all didn't have a hustle. Y'all didn't have a grind. They weren't getting up early enough. They wasn't doing shit. The opportunities were not there. So the reason that this white boy Warren Buffett, this elder white man now, was able to have $114 back then was because opportunities was open up for him that wasn't open up for Cleveland Brown, which is my grandfather, or Miles Brown, which was his grandfather. You know what I'm saying? Or Wash Ellis, which was my grandfather. Or even Margaret Ellis, which was my grandmother. The opportunities that was opened up in 1942 for him to be able to save up $1,000 was not there for my family. Now, and I know he ain't talking about back then, but I want y'all to understand, because the only reason that many of y'all are not having any wealth right now is because the opportunities to build wealth wasn't there for your ancestors. Because I want y'all to think about how your grandma, if those of you that have a relationship with your grandma, how your grandma was always able to make something happen. How your mom was always able to make something happen. When you needed something, the family was able to come together and get it. Now I want y'all to think about that. I want you to think about that from the perspective of a group of individuals where most of them have nothing, were able to come together and provide for you. Now, I want y'all to think about that. So when boys, so there's some dishonesty being brewed here, right? And I do understand the idea of making investments. I do understand the ideas of working hard. I do understand, but I want to be clear about the example that he's using is not fair to you, because one of the things that happen in this system is that motherfuckers often want to turn around and make you feel guilty for where you are and what you have. Somebody on the line, go ahead.
Hey, say Miss Kim.
What's up, Miss Bryce? I mean, I'm saying Brian. My God, how you doing, Miss Kim?
I'm doing good. I'm getting ready to leave here. I'm going to be going to Senegal on June 15th. So I went on a ride this morning on a bike ride to finally see the gravesite of Thomas Sankara.
Uh-oh.
And it was. I don't want to break my rule of talking bad about a country, but I was disappointed that the cemetery was very unkept. It was like weeds everywhere. I had a hard time finding the gravesite. I found these grave diggers who were digging a grave, and they helped me find it. They couldn't even find it. We walked all over that cemetery, and finally we found it, but there was nothing saying his name. It was just an old grave marker that had been painted, and the paint was had deteriorated. So I took some pictures.
You gonna post them up?
So I was just, I'll post it up. Because I just came back today. It was like a 7-kilometer bike ride.
Now hold on.
Right now I'm kind of recovering.
First off, a lot of people might not know who he is. Second off,
oh really?
Is he in Burkina Faso? Or
yes.
Okay, cool. So now, explain, because I want you to understand the significance of what she's saying. And then also, this might be one of the things where we might need to gather some money up so she can hire some of her students to go out here with her, or she could send some people to go out there and possibly clear that space out and make it look nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because because go and explain to him who he is for those that do not know.
Okay, he was a president of Burkina Faso, and he was, I believe, their first president when they got their independence from France. They originally were called Upper Volta.
Mm-hmm.
That was the name of the country, and when they got their independence, that's when they decided to change their name to Burkina Faso. And they also call themselves Gye-Nyame, which kind of means like honest people. So like Burkina Faso in their local language means land of the upright people. So they pride themselves in being honest and upright. And he was that kind of a leader. He kind of leaned a little bit toward communism. And he didn't believe that, government officials should have fancy cars. He believed they should live very simply. He believed that that the income in the country should be fairly distributed. He also believed that they should consume their own local products over foreign products.
What?
He believed that. He pushed that. So they pride themselves. Even now, they still wear a lot of their local traditional African outfits in a traditional woven cotton, not just the wax cotton that you see, which is not really African. I don't know if people know that. This fabric that we're wearing, that we're calling it African,
but
that style came from Indonesia. It came from Indonesia via East Africa, and then it made its way to the continent. But that's not really African style. That's Indonesian.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not a topic. But anyway, so he pushed that they should wear their traditional cotton woven. So they do that here, and then he was assassinated. He was assassinated, and the person who was a part of his assassination was also in his administration took over. And he ruled the country for, I believe, 27 years until they had a coup. They had a coup d'etat, meaning the people overthrew the government. In 2014, that's when they had the coup d'etat. So now they have a new government, and then so now I thought, the gravesite was a place that you could go to that was kept up well, because I've seen pictures where it looked like it was kept up. But what I saw was not. So I don't know if that was the right one. I'm going to maybe ask some people, show some people pictures at work, some locals, and see if I went to the wrong. Because when I went on the internet, it looked really nice. And it was only until they had their independence in 2014 that they even did anything at the gravesite. Prior to that, it wasn't even a marker where he was in the ground. And his family actually had a DNA. They had his body exhumed and they did a DNA to make sure that that was actually him in the ground. So for 27 years, there was nothing to show where he was. And you could not, say his name. And now you can. Now they wear T-shirts and the kids talk about him. But for 27 years, they could not do that.
Could not do it. Because when you destroy an enemy, you got to destroy him totally. He's talking about a system that was fair, a system where everybody had. That's not Western style government. So of course he had to be moved up out of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And basically we witnessed. We could see what happens because you got to control the narrative. And right now, Burkina Faso, in many ways, may be controlling their narrative, but on an international level and in a way that really counts, their story is being told by others. So once again, this man is he's been thrown in the dustpan of history. And if that's going to happen, we got to motivate some of the young people in Burkina Faso to be able to do that. And it's coming around because what a lot of people don't understand is that with ADOS claiming who they are, claiming where they are, and claiming what they're owed, this is going to get other people amped up around the continent and all over the world about identifying who they are and what they came through in their struggle. And Burkina Faso will have no choice but to look back to Mr. Sankore. We'll have no choice but to look back because right there was a nexus point, a major event that happened. And like I'm saying, because when people start, and you have to make them forget. But now let me get back on your boy Boyce Watkins real quick, and the intellectual dishonesty, and maybe it's just an oversight. But family, I want y'all to understand. Like for example, one of the numbers I constantly throw out for y'all, and I want y'all to remember this: that when you take away all the depreciating assets, like the car, in some cases the house for those that own it, and you take out all of the couches and all that stuff, the median black family is worth $1,700. In 1942, this white boy in his pocket was holding if you took that, he was holding the wealth of a black family today in his pocket in 1942. So now, actually, if you wanted Boyce Watkins' idea to work, you would have to be able to invest $1,700, somewhere between $1,700 and $1,800, and just let it sit for 60 some odd years. And I'm not saying that's not the truth, and I'm not saying that won't work. But what I am saying is the reality that we are faced with is the fact that most of us, especially those that listen here, most of us are helping taking care of other people. Most of us are picking up responsibilities that are not necessarily ours. Most of us don't just focus on our lives because we got other people's lives around us in meltdown. So we always feel that, all right, this little $100 ain't going to hurt me. This little $20 ain't going to, because we are communal people. This is what we did. This is what we understand. It's never just, for most of us, even though we talk about the bag, it has never just been about the bag for us. Although this is the narrative that's going out, and if we keep on allowing this narrative to go out, it's going to damage future generations. It's never been about the bag. It's been about the principles. It's been about the community. It's been, you know what I'm saying? Even when you look back at, if you go back in the past and look at some of the other narratives that's around some of the devastation that hit our community in the 70s and 80s and 90s, you will see even individuals that was doing the wrong thing was doing some right things in their community. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? The only narrative we hear is that these motherfuckers was tearing shit up with guns that they didn't make in their own neighborhood, selling dope that they didn't grow in their backyards. You know what I'm saying? But we don't catch it, right? But and it's all cool. So all I'm saying is that when people give you these narratives, I want you to dig a little bit deeper. All right. What Boyce Watkins is talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I just want to add to this. You know, what Boyce is doing is toxic, and I'm sorry, it's manipulative and it's toxic. I just was watching a video recently, even though I knew about it, it hit home to me about how certain communities are being lambasted with fees and tickets. And if you get a speeding ticket for $100, you can have a month for the speeding ticket. So then you would literally have to go to jail. Missouri, Mississippi, they was doing this in Alabama. You got people, poor people, being targeted with all these fees, with all these fines, and then you have to pay for your ankle monitor. And then you got Boyce Watkins on YouTube running his mouth, talking about you could be like Warren Buffett. No, come on now, that's ridiculous.
Most of us don't deal with the.
How dare you say that?
See, and the reason he's
How dare you say that?
The reason he say that, and the reason he's able to get away with that is because once again, the whole narrative is that Sister Kim, it's your fault, and it's your ancestors' fault because they was lazy bums and they never got up and worked. You know what I'm saying?
If you happen to live in a suburb or a town near St. Louis, it's not your fault that you happen to live in Mississippi.
Sister Kim, they're not getting up early enough. You got to know this. They're not getting up early enough. They're not hustling. They're not grinding hard enough. This is the narrative that we are being fed. So individuals, motivational speakers, Boyce Watkins, people can take advantage of this whole idea. You know what I'm saying? And what we do is we reflect on ourselves and be like, we ain't in the position we in just because we are, because we've been free since 1865.
Boyce Watkins is full of crap. When you was talking about the year that Warren Buffett did that, my mom was born in 1943, okay? My mom was born in 1943. My grandmother was born in 1920. My mother's namesake, Joella, you say Joella Giles?
Right.
My mother's name had appendicitis when she was 20 years old in Mississippi. She couldn't get any hospital in Mississippi to operate on her, so she died. That is my mother's namesake. That's my grandmother's oldest sister. She died. That's terrorism.
Miss Kim, but coming from the perspective of the motivational speaker and coming from the perspective of the Boyce Watkins, that was their fault. They didn't grind. If they had paid attention to school, they could have did surgery on themselves. Oh, they didn't want able to go to school. Okay. Nature should have had told them. See, because what we got to understand, the narrative goes back to you wasn't shit. Your people wasn't shit. And this is what we have to battle, and this is what we have to combat, because basically we are being told that in order for us to succeed, we got to do things that our people have been doing over and over again. Listen, I don't remember, and this is when I lived with my grandfather, I don't remember a sunrise catching my grandfather in the house. And I rarely remember until summers my grandfather coming home before it was dark. So that you could miss me with motherfuckers not working.
Exactly.
You said you can miss me with the one. I watched my mom and I watched what she did. You understand what I'm saying? And one of the things that I was dead set in my mind is I didn't want to fall into the same pattern I see them in. Because, you know, I was exposed to the Beverly Hillbillies and how poor people could come up, and I didn't see a difference then. But then as I started talking to my people and as I started learning, I started realizing that there was a difference. Because even in their, when you look at the Jed Clampett, even Jed Clampett was able to be rich because he owned land. a mass amount of land because he was out hunting a rabbit. He shot at a rabbit and it was on his land, and he missed the rabbit and hit an oil piece, and the oil shot out, and he was rich.
Thank you. It was on his land.
It was on his land. And so if you hunting rabbits on your own land, it was big.
Run out of. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is what pisses me off, because we don't get a proper perspective of history that we need so we can move forward. There's nothing wrong with Boyce Watkins doing what he's doing, but doing it in an intellectual, lazy way, or even possibly a dishonest way. How you could turn $100 into $400,000 type shit.
There's a lot wrong with it. We need to just be. I'm just gonna go ahead and be more blunt. I'm tired of going around circles. People like Boyce Watkins are white supremacy collaborators.
Damn.
That's the kind of talk you talk when you're collaborating against your own people.
I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm eventually gonna have to come over to your side. I feel, but I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? Because of course, turning $100 to $440,000 looks good to somebody who might only have $50 in their pocket to make it through the rest of the week. So you're gonna get that. So I have to look at that and be like, that's just kind of shaky. That's just kind of shaky. Then I got to go to your school and I got to pay money to your school. And then on top of that, after that, I have to take what I have left and spend it to try to do some investing. And these past bubbles have not been kind. We got another bubble coming up, family. 2008 was the last one. We in 2019. It's like 10 to 15 year cycles with these things. We're moving into another bubble. And it's right around the time when me and you supposed to, I don't know exactly how old you are. I'm 51, but it's the next bubble is gonna come right around the next time. Right when it's time for me to retire. The next bubble is gonna happen. My fault. We are at 10 to 15 years now. We at 10 years, 2008, 2018. Between now and 2022, something big possibly could happen because there's bubbles all out here. And then on top of that, they talking about you need to get out and grind. Family, I want y'all to understand. Big bank take little bank all the time. Let me, because I said on the show a long time ago, black folks are only want to talk about spending power. What is spending power? Spending is all the money that you have to spend. This is not dealing with extra money after you take care of the bases. No, spending power takes in account the money you pay for gas, the money you pay for gas in your house if you live in a place that have winter, the electricity bills that you take, the soap that you buy, all of the necessities. Buying power talks about all that. It's not a separate piece. And I challenge anybody out there to prove me wrong. It's all the shit that you need to survive. Now, let me say this.
Has spending power. That don't mean nothing.
Now,
This farms have spending power.
Who?
You got to spend to live.
Now, and I want y'all to think about this. Asians have half the working people that we have, and they have 1 trillion. We have like 1.4 trillion. But then let's take it up to white folks, spending power. Big bank take little bank, right? $9 trillion spending power. Nobody ever talk about that shit. Nobody ever talk about the Asian spending power. Nobody ever talks about the Hispanic spending power. You know what I'm saying? No. But we talk about our shit and we use that to beat each other up about what we're not doing when basically what we're doing is surviving. But a lot of us don't recognize it because we got nigga trinkets. We got toys and shit that we could play with, and we start to feel good about ourselves that I'm making it. Rims is not making it. You know what I'm saying? Having the latest TV in your house is not making it. That's your spending power right there. Basics.
Even first, having your house and car and all still ain't making it.
Shit. So we got a long way to go.
Feeling.
We got a very, very long way to go, and we got to be clear about that. And we got to stop letting motherfuckers come in with the bullshit. We got to let that's kind of shaky, bruh. And look at the perspective, and look at the timing, and look at what's, you know what I'm saying? Boom, 1942. This is what they compare $100 into $400,000. And if you was to do that today, you would have to take all your money and just be disciplined. Not even disciplined. Be so cold-blooded that you cut everybody else off. You got to be concerned about the bag and nothing else. You got to take that $1,700 and you got to let that shit sit for 66 years.
You know how many of us have that mentality? That's why we don't have nothing now. Because nobody wants to work collectively. That's why we don't have nothing now. Because if you got one house on the block that did that, but everybody else on the block is struggling, and they're all going to lose their house. Your house paid off, but everybody else going to lose their house. So what happens to you? So then you're not straight.
You're not straight. Wealth is a community asset. This is why.
Exactly.
This is why the whole reparations discussion is very important, because we got to understand that it does us no good that one or two of us make it through and we can see them on TV. What we need is a community of individuals that have access to capital, access to wealth, actual real and true spending power. Because true spending power is about what you have after you take care of the basics. That's true spending power. And I know some of y'all out there, well, brother, Tim, cigarettes ain't part of the basics. Cell phones ain't part of the basics. You know what I'm saying? But for many people, I mean, try to work some of your jobs. Try to work your job without having a cell phone. Try to live your life without having a phone. Try to live your life without a good car to get back and forth to work. Try to live your life without having a washing machine so that you can get your shit ready, because you're spending so much time at work that you ain't got time to spend time at the laundromat. Or you might have more kids than, you know what I'm saying? Come on now. Let's be honest about this shit. Let's be real and let's talk. When you come with the fantasy shit, brother, how Tim have to cut you off and keep it moving, because I ain't got time for that shit. I ain't got time for a motherfucker telling justifying why they might have to work two jobs. I want to work two jobs. Nobody want to work two jobs, motherfucker. Stop lying.
No.
If you got time to work two jobs and you're very successful, you got time to create your own job. Mixing a little bit of what you like with in one job and a little bit that you like on the other job, and being able to meld them into one. Nobody works two jobs because they want to. Most of us work two jobs because we have to.
That's true.
Come on now. I was blessed because my grandfather, he fell into a trade where he was able to take care of the whole family. But prior to that, my grandmother was working every day. So when I came home, I had a whole different experience than the majority of young people that I was working with. Because when I lived with my grandparents, when I lived with my mom, I would come home and be me and my sister. And then I'd go outside and play with my friends. When I came to my grandma's house, with no fuckery or foolishness going on at all. Because she was there.
Hi.
It was stability. Somebody's on the line. Who else on the line?
Hi, this is LaShawn calling. I was just browsing and heard the conversation in regards to spending power.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to blacks here in America alone, between us alone, we have a $2 trillion spending power. The problem with us is that we do not understand the ability to create our own infrastructure. That's something that we lack. When we talk about the Asian American, when we talk about the Jewish community, they all have infrastructure, something that we lack as a people, as a black people here in America. That's our issue. We are the highest consumers on the face of the planet. We continue to spend, but we do not invest. We do not go out and create our own structures to sustain ourselves. That is the issue.
All right, can I ask you some questions, sister?
Sure.
All right. First question. How did we end up like that?
Well, we know how we ended up like that. We ended up being, and we are the children of slaves.
Okay.
So that's what took place. We all know that this country was built off of the backs of our forefathers and our foremothers and slave labor that we have yet to be paid for, labor that our people was not paid for.
Okay.
And that's what happened.
Next question.
But we live in a. Okay, go ahead.
Next question. So slavery ended in 1865. So after that, what's the excuse?
There is no excuse. There is no excuse. The excuse is that we as a people choose not to educate ourselves. That's the problem.
Can I challenge you on that
we live
one?
In a day and age.
Can I challenge you on that one? All right. Do you know who was the fastest? If you look at the studies, do you know who was the fastest group to educate themselves?
Thank you so much.
Out of any group in America, who was the fastest group to educate themselves?
It's supposed to be us.
It was us. It wasn't supposed to be. It was us. Now, not only that, do you know how many black towns were created after slavery?
Oh, there were several.
Oh,
That's
okay.
been documented.
Now, well documented. Now, because what I'm trying to do is walk you through a line before I get to the point that I'm gonna make. Now, when you look at all these black towns that were developed, what happened to them?
They were destroyed.
They were
tore down
by who?
By the colonizers.
Okay.
By the colonizers.
Now, also, many of the resources that these communities needed to survive, did they come from within the community, or was there a transaction between other communities and this community and those communities?
Hudson,
Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask you to clarify. You said they were destroyed by the colonizer. Did you say that?
Well, they were. I mean, we look at what took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Over 3,000 of our people were murdered. Okay, we look at what took place in Pennsylvania. I mean, anytime the blacks have attempted to establish self-sufficiency here in the United States, it has always been destroyed by the other man. We didn't do it.
By who? Say it.
Okay.
I mean, be clear, because we need to be clear, because I want my kids.
Okay, by the white man.
Okay, cool.
That's who.
Now, let's be clear, sister, because I want you to understand, because this is where the crux of what me and Kim is talking about. So would you agree with me that we have strived to educate our own?
Yes.
We have strived to develop black businesses.
Yes, we have.
We have developed our own infrastructures by creating our own cities and our own sides of towns.
Yes, we have attempted to do so.
All right, cool. And we did all this in spite of all of the roadblocks as far as our full citizenship in the United States of America.
That is correct.
So from 1865 all the way up until about 1961, we was doing all these things. But you say yourself that they were purposely destroyed by white mobs coming in, or administration saying certain things was legal and making certain things that we couldn't do, so we wasn't able to really legally do stuff. And then in late 1850s, early 1950s, 1960s, do you know about the Highway Acts?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm familiar with them.
What happened with the Highway Acts?
They imposed certain sanctions that went against travel for our people.
No, not just travel. Not travel. Basically, all of the major expressways that lead from north to south and east to west. If you look in all the cities, where do they go through?
They go through the main set line is that. And I'm driving. I'm sorry.
All right, it's cool. But all those places, were you driving on? Are you on the expressway right now?
Yes, I am.
What city do you live in?
I live in Columbus, Ohio.
All right, cool.
Driving from Maryland.
Do you know where in Columbus where 71 and 70 cross?
Okay.
Do you know what that used to be?
Where?
Huh?
No, tell me.
There used to
I'm
be
not a native of Columbus.
Okay,
Ohio.
cool.
I lived there for 12 years.
Where you from?
I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan.
All right, cool. I want you to
But I
think.
live in
I want
Columbus
you to think back to Detroit because I don't know how you are. I want you to think about Detroit and where does the expressway go through? All those expressways were carved purposely through black communities. For example, the 70 and 71 piece, about where it crossed, it separates what used to be the Mount Vernon area, and in the very place that we drive over all the time were thriving black communities. In every expressway to go through the city. So all I'm trying to say is we talk about what black folks have not done, but we don't look at in a historical perspective to understand that there has been certain things put in place to make sure that we don't do it and that we're not able to do it. Because everything that I hear my people say that we didn't do, I have to look at a historian and be like, shit, we used to do that. We did that. When it comes to education,
historically we did that.
Right, not only historically, I'm talking about recent.
Like our people have given up.
Well, after 160 years of doing shit, because I want you to think about this. You build some shit, somebody come and tear it up. You build some shit, they make a law and pass a expressway through your shit. You build some shit, next thing you know, it's illegal. Like, for example, everybody right now is talking about this goddamn lottery. Part of my reparations, you know what? One of the things that I want to come back to the black community, I want the control of the lottery system because they stole that shit from us. It was illegal all the way up until the states took that shit over and was able to fund these organizations that was making millions, billions of dollars. Now, and the point that I'm trying to make, sis, is that it's not that we don't do these things. We have done these things. We have historically shown that we'll come together and do these things. Even in some sick type of ways, you can look at even our young people forming these gangs. It's a natural movement for individuals to come together. But then once again, when you count in and factor in that most of us are being educated by others, not for our own benefit. We used to have schools that was genuinely black, but then when you look even at the Brown versus the Board of Education, all they was asking for was equal access to the shit that they paid taxes for. But when you look at the thing that came back to them, what was said was that black children was being harmed by being educated outside of white institutions.
Right.
Now, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kim. You know I'm on a roll. You got to stop me.
No, I know. I just had a question for her because she compared black people, African American descendants of slaves, to Asians and Jewish people in terms of how they kind of built up infrastructure. And what I want to ask her this is, Jewish people in particularly, they were given Israel.
Yeah, 1949, they were given Israel, and then we know the ones that, occupy land here in the United States. But the thing is that, they collectively keep their dollar amongst their own. That's what I meant when I stated that, building their own infrastructure. We will spend outside of our own. We won't. Most of our people will not support black businesses, and that's where I was going with this in regards to that when I made my statement. We understand. I mean, if we want to successfully cripple this system, it has to be done by law, and that is the thing. The white man fears law; they don't care. But the moment that you start, if they become effective financially, then that's when you get their attention.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
What type of attention do we?
Okay, they fear.
What type of attention do we attract? When we start doing that?
No, I hear you. I hear you when in terms of their dollar, them being able to hold on to their money, and they are very insular when it comes to economy. That's one of their traits, and that was them in every country, not just in the United States. That's Jewish people in every country where you find Jewish people. That is what they do, and that is part of the problem that they had in Europe. Being like that with Europeans is different from being like that in America and the United States. So I think when you compare us to them, I don't think that's a valid comparison. I don't really see us being able to make that comparison. Our communities, our situation is too very different to compare it to them. Because you're talking about a people who've been a people for thousands of years. Black people in America, we have been oppressed, yes, we know that. For hundreds of years. So
a nation living within other nations. Well, that's who we are.
Yes, and they've
the people living inside another nation.
Well, actually, I would challenge.
Yes, and they've been doing that. They're experts at that. They've been doing that for a very long time. But we learning how to do that. We're still learning how to do it.
And that is what we need to do. In order for us to be able to take back what rightfully belongs to us, we have to be able to shut down the system that they created. And the only way to do that is to stop supporting their system. Whether that goes and build outside.
I agree with you on that. I agree. I'm not saying you're wrong. You're right. I'm just saying there are levels to that. It's not.
Yes, there is levels to that.
No, there are multiple levels to that. And where we are, we're at a very low level because we have some people who have that mindset who try to spend their dollars within Black people. You do have some of us who have that mindset, who live that life. But at the same time, we have majority who want to live a corporate life and they just want to get their nice things and they don't really care about circulating their dollar within us.
Yeah, they want to be a part of.
I totally agree.
Right, but now let me bring it back. Let me bring it back because, like, let's say we do compare the whole Jewish piece. What is your homeland? Where's your homeland?
Our homeland is Africa.
Africa's a continent, land.
Yes, a continent. Africa is not our homeland.
But hold on, I mean, because this
some of us.
Some
of us are indigenous to the land.
I don't even want to go there. I don't even want to take it there. What I want to talk to you about right now, because one of the things that that we have to understand as a people, so that we can start doing, once again, redoing shit that our ancestors have already attempted. Because after a certain amount of time, there's only so many times that you're going to try something. But check this out, sis. I want you to think about this. What is Black folks in America's homeland?
Well, Black folks in America, their homeland, what they're going to identify with would be the U.S. of A.
All right, cool.
That's it. That's our own
now, because the bottom line fact is, we have been here. Some of us could trace. Some of us could trace our lineage in this land, regardless of what the laws are.
Right.
We could trace our lineage back 8 to 10 generations. So this is our homeland. But effectively, we have been made a foreigner legally in our own homeland.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, we have built up the infrastructure for all the shit that's happening in America right now for it to happen. And we know that we have been separated to pockets in places where individuals are able to take advantage of this, where they are able to come from their homeland and basically take advantage of us. Like, for example, you go to any corner store, like you drive right now, you can stop at any corner store. You're not going to walk into a corner store in a Black neighborhood in most cases where there's a person that look like us. There are laws and regulations that make that possible. So the laws and regulations have been set to keep us as a bottom caste. Now, some of the things that you're saying that we need to move on, that we're refusing to do, it's not necessarily that we're refusing to do. It's the fact that we have been totally locked out through the laws here to keep us in the position that we are in. And until we start getting activated politically. See, now one of my favorite scenes in The Godfather 3, which is my I hate that movie, but I watch it. But I love Godfather. Was when one of the young Corleones was talking to an Italian politician, and the politician told him, he said, economics is a gun, and politics is knowing when to pull the trigger. We are not exercising this whole idea of politics being the trigger puller, or even being a person that aims. And what we have to do is, because getting beyond just the spending power, because living in this, do you know what's going on with Sprint and T-Mobile?
What is it again? You said what?
Do you know what's going on with Sprint and T-Mobile?
No.
No.
Okay. Do you know what's going on with T-Mobile and Amazon?
No, not currently.
Okay. Do you know what's going on possibly between GM and another major car producer in America?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Now, what I'm doing all that to lead up to is this. We have a plutocracy or something like they pronounce it that, oligarchy that's forming.
You're right.
That's formed where you have the idea of big bank take little bank. So even if we was to direct all 1.4 to $2 trillion in spending capital, and we cut off everything. We cut off the hair, we cut off the fancy cars, and we just focus that $2 trillion as black folks. One of the major rules that you learn in the street is big bank does what?
Okay, little bank.
Alright. So far as what we have been able to amass here, when you look at the numbers, we are if you can even call it a bank. We are the little side of the street loaning place right now. Because if we was to just talk about actual spending power, we have people with less people that work. They got almost as much spending power as us, speaking of Asians, and we got white folks with $9 trillion. And then when you look at black folks on a whole, not just the ones that are fortunate enough to be able to drive or be able to stream like I'm doing right now, and we look at our cousins and stuff, and we can see this, 50% of our people, far as wealth, are existing on $1,700 when you take out everything else. $1,700. That's not, in America, that's a month worth of life.
Right.
So when we get into the power of our dollars, we have to look at that shit, because most of our people, over 50% of our people, are not at a point where they can even talk about wealth. They're at a point where they're only able to talk about survival, which means that if my family's going to eat, your family can't, because this is the system that they have been brought up into. This is where they have came in and broke down bonds between us, and this is why we talk about tribe building right now as far as Gye-Nyame journey, because when we start looking at the problem that we're facing, part of the problem is that some of the very basic structures that we held on to even during our most adverse times have started to break down in this day and time. Right? So even if we was to put all our capital together, what would it change?
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to get this across to other people on the side that might just be listening in. It's not a hopeless situation. There are things that we can do, and there's things that are happening right now that's going to move us to a point where we are able to affect the change in the way that we need it to happen. But what I need for our people to do is get out the illusion that if we stop buying shit that we need to survive and just go to straight black business, because we did that shit before. And I want people to understand that when they come, because some people come into the circle and talk as if we didn't do none of this, and that's problematic. We did it all. As far as fighting, nobody, even the free. We gotta understand this. Even the freedom movements in Africa and Vietnam, all throughout Asia, was influenced by who? Do you know?
It was us.
They was influenced by us. Whole countries were motivated by the strategies that we used and the rhetoric that we used. But for some reason, the shit never totally worked out for us. And there's several reasons for that.
Nope.
And until we start really dealing with it on a political level, and then and even while we're trying to deal with it on a political level, start getting those small pockets of people where we could talk about doing stuff. And not just falling for the hustle that somebody is selling, saying some intellectually some intellectually dishonest shit like take $100 and turn it to $400,000 over 66 years. That shit is not honest, because when you look at the actual numbers, what I was trying to get to is when you look at the dollar in 1942, a dollar from 1942, let's just say $100 from 1942 is worth $1,700 right now. So this means that if we want to accumulate wealth, we have to let it sit around for 66 years, but it would have to be about $1,800 to do that.
And you could probably buy, and that amount of money could probably build you a house in 1942.
Right.
Or at least purchase the land.
Yep. At least purchase the land.
See, all of the comparisons that we use for us are not comparisons that are right for ADOS.
Nope. It's not.
All of the comparisons that we have been using have been in a sense telling us that we have not gotten up early enough. We have not worked hard enough. We have not organized enough. You just ain't right. Your grandpappy was lazy. Your grandmama was lazy. And a hoe. I mean, really, when we look at this shit, y'all was just shiftless since 1865. Don't talk about Jim Crow. Jim Crow didn't affect y'all. Y'all had your own communities back then. Black codes didn't affect you. Redlining didn't affect you. Fuck all that. And fuck the fact that just in my lifetime, we as a people had the right to vote nationally. In my lifetime. So how can we use anybody else's description to describe where we are? There has never been a people in a position that we are in. We are in a foreign land, in a sense, that is ours, that we have been made foreign in.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's all I'm saying, sis. So we got to be careful when we start talking, because what that does is because we got to realize the effect they have on our children. Because if we're talking about where we should have been and all this, many of us talk about it as if that shit wasn't popping off, as if they just walked into Black Wall Street and motherfuckers just laid down and said, "Oh, mighty white man, don't kill me." No, we fought them. The only reason
that what we want should be and continue to be right now.
Listen,
that's where our people on that side of. We should be continuing
now
on what we were doing back then. Now,
but the only reason we didn't was because it became life-threatening to a point where, think about this, sister. When they came to try to get that brother out of Black Wall Street, they stopped their ass at the train tracks. And the only reason they dropped the bomb was because they couldn't get in there because the men refused to let them through. And they fought. And we got to be clear about that. Right. See, because what does that mean? So this means that after the fight, there was a literal war. And the first bomb ever dropped in America, fuck 911, was dropped on us. And it destroyed their whole area. And a lot of those people got up without any wealth and moved to other places. All the wealth that they had amassed as the Black Wall Street went straight back into white hands. All of the land that was owned by black folks was given to white people.
Yeah. No.
So that even the ones that tried to stay there, in order to build that shit back up, they had to borrow money from white people to build up Black Wall Street.
But we still having bombs dropped on us with our property being taken away from us with tax sales and things like that. That's a bomb.
Oh, yeah.
And then you lose your property, and what do?
Fight back.
Well, most of us have come to the terms that fighting back It's not even worth it at this point in time. Especially if we're going to continue.
That's how they took everything.
Right.
That's how they took everything, though, about war and bloodshed. And that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to need to happen.
But in order for that to happen, we have to be at a certain level. And we have to be at a certain level of understanding about who we are here.
That's right.
That's true. That's true.
You understand?
That's right.
So that we understand that we don't come from a race of cowards who just gave up. We never gave up.
Right.
See, that what breaks my heart, because I be talking to some people and they talk as if we didn't try. As we didn't fight, we didn't shed blood. Not only for us, we shed blood so that this country could exist. We shed blood so that we could have what we were supposed to have here. And for some of us, when we sit down and talk, it's almost as if we done gave up. Oh, this generation that's coming in right now, they're not fighting. The fuck do you mean? This is the generation that's being killed by the motherfucking police because they want to stand up and say, why can't I sell a motherfucking cigarette on a block that I live in? Why can't I carry a gun in the area that I live in? These are the same rights that I'm sorry.
Allow the police to prey on our youth. We, the adults.
Exactly. We allow these people to do this. Right, and that's the reason why they do it. Because our people will not be proactive and go out here and fight. My thing is this, and I mean, that's how I was raised. When they come into our communities, killing ours, it should be returned back 10 times. So like I said, the only thing, it is only going to matter when they fear. They have a fear of loss. It don't matter. Our people don't want to fight. They don't want to go out here and get busy. We have to mobilize. That's what we have to do.
It's not, and I'm going to say this.
That's the only way we're going to get up out of these conditions.
Now, we got to be clear about that. To fight. So now, what's going on? Yeah. What happened with the education system after the Black Panther Party, after the 1960 movements, and all of us are sending our kids to these places to be educated? We have been integrated, and a lot of our kids act as darker white people. Right. So the warriors. Never happened. See, and you got to understand this.
Why we want our kids to do that?
Exactly. We encourage that shit.
No, we encourage that.
We encourage that. We support that.
We don't have sit-down conversations with our kids to explain to them what they're doing. We want to see them do that.
Because that's
our problem.
That's right. That's the right thing to do. Because you're American. But we have not been accepted totally as American, and our story has not been truly interwoven with what it means to be American. And we have accepted that shit. But the issue is, see, because you got to understand, if you look at any revolution, any change, it's never sparked by the middle class. It's never sparked by the higher classes. It's never sparked by old motherfuckers that are disgruntled. It's sparked by the children. And I got a question for you. Where are your children from 8 to 3, 5 days a week?
At home
with white folks.
Oh, you do homeschooling?
Oh yeah, all of mine were home.
Oh, go ahead, girl. I mean, I have to shut up when it comes to you. But let's say for the 98, let's say 90% of us, where are our children at?
In a white classroom.
In a white classroom.
Yeah,
right. In a white classroom, being taught by a white man or a white woman.
Oh, and see, but we got to be clear. In this system now, the way they have it, it doesn't matter whether they're white or black. The curriculum that they have to follow.
The curriculum has already been given. The tone has already been set, and it's one that has been created by the white man.
That's been created.
Right. Right. Because our black men and women that are teaching their curriculum, not ours.
And then a lot of our people are too afraid to deviate from that curriculum.
Hold on for a second, ladies. Hold on. Hold on.
Just tell the truth. We afraid.
They are too afraid because they don't know nothing else.
Right. Hold on.
They're afraid to do it.
What? Now, hold on, sisters. Hold on. Hold on. I got Brother Kwame. I just noticed that he's tuning in over the Spreaker app. I think he's starting to like Spreaker, so I'm gonna have to look on here. He talks about economic hitman and bombs. He says, Mander, I guess it's remember the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the many others I can't even recall. He says 37 minutes ago, there's a duplicitous message that he gives, because if he is challenged, he can says he's referring to compound interest and not the idea how much is invested. He talking about Dr. Boyce Watkins. See, because I mean the issue with Dr. Boyce Watkins is Sister Kim is done giving him an option. I'm still looking. Maybe the brother got some good intents, but you can't run that shit past, because we have a resident, far as our family, we got a resident mathematician. You know what I'm saying? So, thank you for saying the ancestor brother's name again. One love, Sis Kim. Could you please repeat again the name of the president to whom you refer?
Tim, you know Thomas Sankara.
Thomas Sankara, Brother Kwame. Hopefully you're still listening. Family and sister, what's your name? What's your name?
I'm LaShawn Rainey on this post here.
Well, how you driving and typing in? Don't be doing that shit while you with me. You're driving and talking. Don't do that shit. You a soldier. I might need to hook up with you in Columbus, because shit, we need family around here. But let me say this. I want to thank Sister Navita. I want to thank Sister LaShawn Rainey. I want to thank Sister Kim Carswell and Brother Kwame. I have to go because I got to get to the barber shop and see about making some of these changes. And I'm on the 7th day of my fast, so I'm moving straight to water next week. And we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. You know, we're gonna make it.
Make it.
Yeah, it's 21. It's a 21-day fast. And but family, I want to thank y'all, and we will be back tomorrow morning, sometime between 5:15 and 6 a.m. I'm gonna say that we usually supposed to do 5:15, but you know, depending on how I sleep, because my sleep pattern is changing, because my eating is changing and stuff like that. So I'm trying to deal with it. So sometimes I fall asleep early in the day and whatever. So family, I want to thank y'all for joining us. This has been the place where your hustle builds muscle. The place of the stubborn minority. And family, I got to stress this. Family, it don't take all of us. It only takes a stubborn minority of us to change everything that's going on with us as black folks. It don't take all of us. It takes about 1% of us to set our mind and be like, shit, we're gonna be stubborn about this shit. This is why every soda is kosher. This is why they don't allow peanuts on planes and in schools, because it's a stubborn minority that like, we can't accept that shit, and you can't do that shit. And family, it only takes a stubborn minority, and we are the stubborn minority. So I want to welcome you to the place. I want to welcome you to the congregation of the mighty. This is Gye-Nyame Journey Media. Anime, what's going on over there? These mythic animals be tripping. This is the Heart of a Simple production. Where this is the Heart of Simple production, and this has been another daily toast, and our toast and talk, Imani. We strive to blow up your old paradigms. There's my people that out in the street that paradigm. We change your paradigms out there. Alright, so I'm out. I gotta get to this barbershop because I know I'm gonna have a long wait. But family, I want to thank all of y'all for participating, and I will see you soon. Peace.
And then peace. Thanks for having me.